Hello guys, welcome to my channel. How are you doing? So this girl was asking all the transgender how are they know they are woman and what make them a woman. So all the transgender on TikTok was so angry, and here was the stitch that was added to her video. So I have to add everything together and bring it here for you guys. Keep watching.
So for all the trans women out there, I have a question. How do you know that you're a woman? What makes you a woman? Because I'm just gonna let you know, being a woman is not So my question to you is, what makes you a woman?
Question in good faith, and it's very obvious because you immediately proceeded to mock what you perceive trans women to be in the very next sentence. However, I'll still answer it for you. Your argument is rooted in biology. High school level biology at that, but biology, which is one science, but it is not all of the relevant sciences to the human experience, right? So when people only reference biology and exclude psychology, sociology, anthropology, you immediately lose all credibility in your argument. I will concede that I was born biologically male, but psychologically, I'm not a male. Sociologically, I'm not a male. Anthropologically, I'm not a male. Context and nuance matter, and I know you're not actually interested in engaging in this conversation, but if you were, you would need to reference all of the relevant sciences to the human experience, not just high school level biology. Being a woman isn't all about body parts, and you know that. Don't reduce all of us to that.
So I don't know that I'm a woman because I'm not. I'm a transgender woman. You know, biological women have a ton of experiences that I'm never going to relate to. You know, I've had gender reassignment surgery, but I'm not going to know what it's like to menstruate, have a uterus and eggs, and produce a child. I'm never even going to know what it's like to be pregnant, even though I'd love to. That's just not in the cards for me. But I don't want people to think I'm invalidating myself when I say that, because there are tons of experiences that I have as a trans woman that a biological woman will never have. They're never going to know what it's like to be born male, to have to get access to hormone replacement therapy, to have to go through gender reassignment surgery, to have to deal with the ridicule of just being trans in public. I don't know why so many trans people are scared to just label themselves as they are. Well, we are transgender women. What makes us trans? It's the fact that we're born biologically men. You don't have to be ashamed to admit that. And regardless of those things, I'm still a girl to myself. I'm just a little different.
For one, I'll answer your question as truthfully as possible and try not to be as shady as you were towards a community that has no beef with you. But being a woman, it's not all about giving birth to a woman, having boobs, and this, and the third. It's about being a community and uplifting each other, which seems like you as a real woman don't do. Which is so crazy to me, because usually the LGBT community and trans women side with women and side with feminism. But it always seems like y'all go the extra mile to invalidate us as women, and there's no beef with you, nor competition, which blows my mind, because if anything, we look up to you as real women to help us get through this, but y'all more so fight like there's an issue. And people like you are not real women. Y'all get these things like, wow, I can give birth and this and the third. Like, we don't know our own bodies and know that that's not possible. But in today's day and age, we can very much still do that. If you're mad because we don't have unwanted pregnancies and pregnancy scares, just say that. And sincerely, I'm really tired of not feeling like there's no safe space. Women are against us. Men are against us. Men are saying that we're still men. Women are sitting here validating us as women instead of guiding us to where we need to be to become a real woman, like you said. And then y'all ask us these questions, but then don't give us answers. Really miserable. Work on yourself.
Same way that you know that you have the mental capacity of a McDonald's quarter pounder. You don't know, but it's just the truth.
Hey babes, I just wanted to answer your question real quick. I noticed that you had your stitches turned off, which I thought was a little weird because you were asking a question. I feel like Nomi on here, I don't remember her exact username, I feel like she answered this question quite well, and I'm gonna basically answer a little bit off of that. So when you have the theory or that you recognize gender as a social construct, you can also recognize that words like woman and man are also socially constructed terms, while as male and female are tied to biological, like secondary and primary characteristics. But if you come from the perspective, and of course you can have a different perspective, but if you come from the perspective that woman and man are gender terms and gender is a social construct, if somebody, regardless of their biological sex, if somebody, receives social concurrency and deductions under the assumption or perception that they are a woman or man, I think it is fair to say that they are a woman or a man because their society perceives them as. You know, like a trans woman, especially like trans women that passes. Trans women that don't pass also experience this too, but on a different level. You know, trans women will experience misogyny, and trans men will benefit from misogyny. And you know, you can see this in like crime statistics. You can see this in like, you know, listening to trans people and their experiences in the workplace. But so to say a trans woman is a woman is to say that she is a social woman, and as woman is a social term. Trans women are women.
Girl, I don't know. Maybe it's the countless men in my DMs begging to eat my coochie. Maybe it's the face. Maybe it's the body. Maybe it's Maybelline. Dear, I don't know. But I know that you're the type of girl who will come to the bar in a Buccaneers hoodie with your boyfriend and feel threatened by me sitting across the bar minding my business because your man is looking at me. Because I'm giving cunt. And you're giving linebacker.
And so get at me if I'm talking out of pocket, but I feel like it's fairly easy to Google the definition of gender and also understand that gender and sex are separate from one another, and we've completely already established this. It's scientific evidence, scientific fact. Gender, characteristics of blah, 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 that are socially constructed. And I know you people share like two brain cells together, but I feel like it's fairly simple to understand that the definitions are different. There's no reference to social constructs in the definition of sex because it has nothing to do with social constructs because it's only biology. So biology and gender do not mean the same fucking thing. They are not synonymous. And usually gender and sex are synonymous because they are that way in our society.
I'd be obsessed with this question. I would ask my trans friends, what do you mean you feel like a woman? Because I am a woman and I don't feel anything particularly about it. There's no like woman sense going off in my brain. Like being a woman doesn't mean just like wearing makeup and dresses and stuff. Like you can do that while being a man. So what does it mean to feel like a woman? I don't get it. Turns out some people really feel like a woman, and you can't explain that to someone who doesn't feel it. And if you don't understand what that feeling is, then you might not be as cis as you think you are. It's okay. Join us. We don't bite.
To point out first that I think it's not very helpful to your question that you're only calling out a very small piece of the trans community, especially when you're calling out the piece of the trans community that you've been told are predators. It really shuts down the conversation before it begins. If you want a true and honest answer, it would be better if you didn't use dog whistle language and if you just asked the entire trans community. Second, I think this question could be better worded by saying, can somebody please help me understand what it was in your personal journey that helped you understand that you were not experiencing life the way you would have been comfortable experiencing life in regards to gender? Because the truth is, everybody's going to have a different answer. And my answer is that gender is totally not something I ever really thought about until I started having conversations about it in my 30s. And people started telling me, no, I don't feel that way. And I was like, oh. And I actually feel really comfortable in my body. I don't feel the need to transition at all. But if I woke up in a man's body with like the full sex transition tomorrow, it wouldn't fundamentally change how I live my life except for the power differential between a man and a woman. And it wouldn't fundamentally change how I view myself. Like I would just continue being me. And there are people who don't feel that way. And that might be you, it might not be you. And if it isn't you, that's totally fine. But there are people who just totally understand that if they woke up in a body that had the totally separate sexual organs from the body that they're in, that they would be themselves in a way that they can't be themselves in the body they're currently in. And the opposite of that is true. And then there are people who are like, if I woke up in a body with no sexual organs, I would be the most comfortable. And I think, the most important piece of this entire conversation is to acknowledge that all of these scenarios don't affect anybody except for the person who's experiencing them. And they're not a harmful thing at all. and they're not an illness, and they're not an indicator that somebody is a bad person, and they don't make anybody a predator. And that this predatory language and this like whole idea of trans women being predators is something that we used to pin onto the gay community. And it's something that people use to vilify something and people that they don't understand. And it's been used for so long. And we really need to stop using it to make things we don't understand evil. And because it's really harmful. So anyway, I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope this was helpful.
Binary here, and I just wanted to remind everybody that being who you are is not something to be glamorized or separated to have power or control over another individual. I don't think it's a beautiful thing that we're trying to define what it means to be a woman or a man or a trans individual. I think it's degrading, I think it's disgusting, and I think it appropriates everyone. Everybody is going to have their own defining moment and their own experience in which they understand who they are, what their identity is. And nobody is going to express that equally. And the fact that everybody's so willing to conform their identity into what society expects from them, express yourself the way that you want to fucking express yourself. Let people be who the fuck they want to be. And instead of looking for answers somebody else is going to give you, maybe you should look into yourself and find out who you are for yourself.